In this video, we'll be learning about classifiers. Classifiers are hand shapes that are used to identify different classes or categories of things, sizes, and shapes. Where a classifier is used in space and how you move it provide additional information about it. The classifier may be representative of the entire object or only part of it, allow you to describe what the object looks like, shows its movement, or demonstrates how it interacts with or relates to its environment. While classifiers are able to provide this information, they are not used in isolation. Before using a classifier, you have to tell what you are referring to. While classifier 3 is commonly used for a car, it could also be used to show the movement of a snowmobile, motorcycle, submarine, or bicycle. Just like with signs, you will use non-manuals. You will inflect the classifier to show to what extent or the person's feelings or attitude during the action. When using classifiers to describe something, you will accompany them with the mouth morphemes. When describing something small, you will use ooh. When describing something medium, and when you describe something large, cha. Similarly, if something is near, you will use e. If something is medium distance, you will use again. And if something is far, you will use ah. Something else you should know is that the classifier used to describe something can vary. While the hand shape used is generally based on the actual appearance of something, it's also possible to describe it in other ways or from other perspectives. You may describe an animal sticking its head up through the ground with an S hand shape. But you could also use a squished O. In general, classifiers should be used whenever possible instead of signing. The first category of classifiers is called semantic classifiers. Semantic classifiers function as pronouns in ASL. These represent a whole person, animal, object, etc. Classifier 1 could represent a person or an upright animal. You could also use classifier 2 or 3 to show that number of people or upright animals. These can be used to show the movement. For example, a person walking, two people walking up to a third person, a really long line of people, or one that is so long that it even winds around because it's so long. You can change the movement to show how the line is slowly inching forward. You could also use a 3 classifier to show 1 or 2 cars. When you are using more than one classifier and you are one of the parties you're describing, you will always be represented by your dominant hand. 2 cars next to each other and one zooms off. One car stopped and the other bumps into it from behind. You could use a 5 classifier to show a piece of paper blowing around in the wind. The next category of classifiers is called descriptive classifiers. Descriptive classifiers are used to describe a shape, a size, or a texture, or a pattern. You could describe how thick a jacket is by using a G or a C, something thin, or a thick jacket, or you could use a 4 to describe the horizontal stripes that it has. You could use a B classifier to show that the floor was wavy or that it was straight. The next category is instrumental classifiers. The hand shapes of instrumental classifiers describe how an object is handled. These do not have a specific hand shape, but are based on real life, using a remote control, twisting the lid off of your coffee cup, shifting gears in a truck, or flipping on a light switch. The next category of classifiers is called locative classifiers. A locative classifier is used to indicate the location of something or the position relative to another. If you were describing your dog on the rug, you would spell rug, R-U-G, and then use the B classifier in your non-dominant hand to represent the rug and the sign dog with your dominant hand, and then use the bent V classifier placed on the B classifier to show where the dog is in relation to the rug. You could use the B classifier as a table and the C classifier to explain that your coffee is set on the far left side of the table. Body part classifiers is the next category of classifiers. A body part classifier represents only one part of the body. While the one classifier can represent the whole person, it can also represent how the person is sitting with their legs crossed, with one leg tucked under the other, etc. You could also use the flat hand classifier to show how a person walked confidently, to show how a person walked unsteadily across a balance beam, or how a person walks in high heels. Here are the signs you'll need to know to complete your classifiers assignment. Car, monster, leg, man, hair, leaf.